Usual Wednesday night, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We got with us Al, which is great to have him on. He is in his car because he's a hardworking man, so he's out there working today. We got Steamboat Willie from beautiful Long Beach. We got my secret police officer here, Mikey Mike from Maryland, and of course, I'm at my secret location as I am every Wednesday night. How are you guys doing tonight?
Good.
Living the dream.
Hey, that's perfectly said. Perfectly said. Great segue to what we got to chat about tonight. So, first things first, I really want some feedback from you guys because I'm having a hard time understanding why the LA Unified School Districts keeps turning everything about parents into LGBTQT. Um, I have a hard time with that, and maybe I'm missing something when it comes to that. So, any ideas why? Besides dividing everybody even more?
It's just politics. That's all it is. They're just trying to make an issue out of nothing.
And it's actually working, right? Because people are fighting about it, and we keep forgetting that the innocent children are the ones being abused by both sides. If you think about it,
Yeah,
it's a
it's a
constant
shame.
battle. I mean, I'm getting so much hate email from LAUSD. Um,
You are?
yeah, they don't like my posts on Twitter. They don't like. I mean, on X. They don't like my postings on X. Um, because I asked. To me, it's a valid question, right?
Yeah.
Parents want to know what their kids are doing in school. Parents have a right to know what their children are doing in school. It's Tony's opinion only, right?
Exactly.
Right. So it has nothing to do with LGBTQT or hatred against LGBTQT. It has to do with I want to know what my child is doing, and if my child wants to be something he or she is not, then I think I have a right to know to be involved in that decision. That's just
Well,
my
and you bring up a great point, Tony. But let me put it this way. Look, I'm gonna piss. I'm already restricted. Well, not actually restricted from Facebook. They say I'm restricted, but as Al Collins so eloquently pointed out, they're full of shit.
Well, you have to you don't pop up anymore. I have to search for you to find you now. That's the difference.
Oh well, so yeah, I am probably I'm probably
Whereas
under
you used
restricted.
to pop
But
up on TV.
here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm under restriction on Facebook. Not to make this a federal case about me and Facebook tonight, but I put up a pro-Trump gnome ticket in 2024. they they said it was offensive to somebody. So yeah, so they're they're on the warpath. And this is what they do. But to get back to what you were saying, Tony, as far as parental rights and LGBT, look, there can be a heterosexual couple who is dealing with either a gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgendered kid in their family.
right.
That is a family issue. We do not
Right.
need the government dictating how we handle that. And so look,
Right.
there are plenty. I don't know a family that doesn't at least know one gay, lesbian, bisexual, or transgendered person. I really don't. And we don't know how our grandkids are going to turn out either. But this is not for the government or the teachers union to make a decision. This is a family issue. And as a wise man once said, he's wearing the shirt that says it. Families first.
You know, it's if you look
And
at
by
it,
the way,
yes, sir.
just real quick, Tony, by the way, I met a gay couple today that's raising two adopted children. They don't want the educational system infringing upon their rights either.
Right. I mean, kids go to school to learn, to learn math,
To
English,
learn what is right,
right?
exactly. Right.
They're not there to have a teacher coax them into something that they're not because they're confused. How many kids are not confused, right? I mean, half of them don't even know how to wipe their ass properly, and yet we're gonna give them the opportunity to chop off their breasts or their penis. At the
You're not too far off base on that, and and you know what? As far as the wiping your ass thing, I am more than willing. Any member of Congress, Democrat or Republican, if you don't know how to wipe your ass, I literally will come to Washington and teach you.
Well, they
I
might
will
not
do
know
it.
how to do
I will do it.
They
I will
might
do
not
it
know how
for
to
you.
do that, but they know how to steal money. They're good at that.
Well, I mean, even a kid knows how to steal a candy bar from the grocery store. I mean,
Yeah, but people in the Senate and Congress do it very well. They have it
well,
down to a science, right?
you know,
Kind of like I learned today that because of our new green policies that are coming up, the chief of staff of Mr. Biden got a big contract in Africa, um, which is interesting. Kind of like Pelosi's husband getting the super fast train that's never going anywhere, right?
all right. Let me tell you quick. You know what? And I know we're going toward the impeachment route here, if I'm correct, right?
Yes, we are.
Okay. Let me tell you a quick story, and then I'll let the gentleman from wherever he is in his car. And the gentleman based literally, look at his captain's chair. He looks like he's Captain Kirk, Mike Riker, this guy. But and so do you, Tony. So it's like you're both running the same ship here. But let me tell you a quick story. And this is actually a true story. Lobbying for votes in Congress. Well, it is not much different, actually, than trying to proposition a woman for a fun night.
Yeah.
True story. I have an old friend on Capitol Hill, and we're not going to mention any names. I promise. I'm not going to mention any names. I'm in enough trouble this month. But I had an old friend on Capitol Hill, and this guy was amazing. And he at least always had two women on his arm. If he went to a reception, if he went to a White House, he would always have two women on his arm. And I looked at him one day and I said, and I was young back then. I said, man, how the hell do you do this? And he said, listen, Will, this is how I do it. I go into a bar in Georgetown and I approach every single woman in that bar. And I'd say, would you tap him on the shoulder, maybe even buy him a drink? Would you like to have some fun with me tonight? I said, Guy, man, you must have got slapped a lot. He said, yes, I did. I got slapped a lot of the time. But I also got a lot of yeses.
Yeah.
On this impeachment thing, Speaker McCarthy and the Republican Party does not have the yes vote to even take this to the floor of the House.
Well,
and they do not have the votes to convict the president in the Senate. Impeachment has become a joke.
Well, I agree with you. My biggest concern with it is just what you said. If the party wants to make headway in any election, they need to get over themselves, right? They need to start working together with a common cause. We have bigger things to worry about than impeaching Biden, because that's going to lead nowhere. Even if you impeach him, it means nothing. It means.
And look at the taxpayer dollars that's going to go into this thing. Yes, they did it against Trump twice, but we are supposed to elevate ourselves to a higher level than that.
Well,
we did it. Newt Gingrich did it with Bill Clinton.
You can't elevate yourself.
And they did it with Andrew Johnson. After the Lincoln assassination. Well, impeachment. Impeachment has only done one thing, and I cannot believe that Kevin McCarthy and the MAGA ultra-right unit in Congress, I cannot believe that they do not see that impeachment always benefits the impeachee.
Well, I'm going to give you a scenario that happened Sunday. Whether you guys know or not, I belong to the American Legion post in my neighborhood.
I do know
and
that.
There was a move by some of the members they had a vote of no confidence for the commander, right? Mind you, they were arguing over a freaking waitress on top of all this. They made a move to vote him out. And I listened to the whining and sniveling, that's what I called it, for about 20 minutes. And then I raised my hand and I said something. And the old Army Master Sergeant came out in me. And I just called them a bunch of whiny crybaby morons that come to a meeting Sunday afternoon to whine about they fired a waitress because they liked the waitress. Well, the waitress was serving alcohol outside of the facility. You could lose your license for that in California.
Right.
And the people defending her because they like her, they want to overlook that, and the commander made a decision. Now, I don't know all the facts, but the argument ended up being about a waitress and firing her and being unfair to her. She's been with the Legion for about 10, 12 years. Well, again, they were screaming and yelling, and I got so upset about it that I'm like, you're grown men. You're acting like we're in junior high school in a school locker fighting over girls,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Kind of like what Congress does. We're here arguing about Biden. Well, you know what? Let the system take care of Biden if he did something wrong. Let's focus on what's going on in our country, right? In our republic. Let's worry about homeless people, law enforcement, for God's sake. Let's worry about them. Maybe we should clean up our neighborhoods instead of complaining that they're always dirty. Do something besides whine and snivel, because that.
You were actually at a beach cleanup in your neck of the woods this past weekend, right?
Actually, we were cleaning the Angeles Crest.
Oh, and the police were there too.
They were. The National LAPD was there helping, picking up trash, not just standing around picking up trash. But that's the point, that people want to snivel and complain, but don't want to do anything. They want to complain about the cops not doing their job. Well, help them out. They want to complain that the neighborhood is dirty. Well, you know what? If you walk by a cup on the street, pick the damn cup up and throw it in the trash.
It's that simple. I mean, even down our alley here in Long Beach, you see a thing, you pick it up. You know, look, people drive through there, you see nails or screws or and a lot of cans and stuff discarded. You can recycle. You know, it's a few extra cents.
Well, think about it. You go to the market and something's on the floor. Let's say a loaf of bread falls. 90% of the people walk right by it and don't even pick it up to put it up because they didn't do it.
No, you know, and this is a good point. That was one of my first jobs. One of my first jobs was working in a grocery store, and I worked every aisle, worked every department, worked produce. That was my favorite, fresh vegetables. But you know, that old adage, hey, clean up in aisle 4. Well, it was usually a customer that dropped something or broke something.
Right.
And then you'd have to go and clean it up. But they would also try. This was back in the day, long time ago, dinosaur days, when even the customer, they would apologize profusely, but accidents happen. But you see something, do something, for God's sake. Tony, you're absolutely right.
And I think that's what we're failing, right? Because I look at how we handled our cleanup versus how San Diego did their cleanup, right? You know, they had the mayor involved. He was there helping picking up trash. We couldn't even get our councilman to come up. She planned it. She scheduled it, but she didn't show up.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, exactly.
If you're going to lead, you lead by example. You don't lead from the rear.
You lead by example. Well said.
We have a problem with and I'm going to call them politicians, because I still have not met a real public servant besides the mayor of National City in LA County. I have not met one that truly cares about the community itself. There's some that say they do. There's some that probably do. I haven't met. You know, the jury's still out with me with Karen Bass. I'm just not sure um, how I feel about her yet. She's done some good
Yeah, I
things.
think she's going to surprise us. I think she's actually going to be one of those Democrats that
She's
surprises,
done
Tony.
some good things, but I'm still, I don't know, right? Um,
Yeah.
I know a lot about
Well,
Monica Rodriguez. She ain't worth a shit. She needs to go away. Um, and 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 I'm using the word shit. I have other words I want to use for her, but I won't use them. Because she needs to go.
yeah. What did Tony? What did you guys, you and Mike and Al, what did you guys do on 9/11 for the 22nd anniversary?
Um, I thought a lot about what happened. I know
Exactly. That's what we
exactly.
all
I know
did.
exactly where I was at when I saw it.
Exactly.
Um, I know exactly how I reacted. I know the words I said to my wife,
Yeah, you'll never forget
and
it. That's right.
and the words were, "F, we're going to war," because I knew it wasn't an accident right away. Um,
Yeah.
And I told my wife, I says, guess what? The world just changed.
and think
Exactly.
about it, right? There's a lot of conspiracy theories and all that. I don't even care about any of that. People need to think about those people that died. That
Exactly.
that to me was more important. And I was able to go to New York. I think it was 2002 around September timeframe when they were still digging things out and trying to find clean it out so they can rebuild. And it was very saddening to see. So I can't even imagine being there right after it happened. Um,
Yeah.
Yeah, I went up there shortly afterwards, and they had the sheets, and everybody was putting their names on
right.
the sheets.
Yep.
And I walked up to the gate, talked to the officer there, and said, "Hey, look, I'm an officer down by Washington." He said, "Come on in." He said, "Your wife's got to stay out here." And I actually went into Ground Zero, and I saw one building that was damaged that they really didn't publicized too much. And I said, "How did that building get the damage?" And he said, "When the plane came in, the engine had hit the building and fell off into the street." So I got one of the better stories that you don't hear every day. But
Right.
my wife, my nose don't work too well. And she says, "I smelled death." She said, "That's all I smelt."
Yeah. Hey, there was a I heard an interview recently with President George W. Bush, Andy Card, who was his chief of staff, and so forth. And when President Bush went to Ground Zero
Right.
to review the damage and meet with firefighters and first responders and so forth, they said that the Marine One filled up with that exact smell you described,
Right.
Mike. Death and burnt plastic and burnt rubber and all of that. But Al, what did you do? What did you do on 9/11? This past
Well,
anniversary.
it's a very somber day uh, for all of us. Um, uh, it's just a time to reflect. But one of the things that I find interesting about it is that everyone came together after 9/11. Everybody
They sure
was
did.
waving the American flag. There was no
No division.
liberal versus conservative, Democrat versus Republican. We were all, I've never seen so many flags in my life after 9/11.
Right.
And I had two on my car as well. And they were just on every car going down the street. We were more united after 9/11 than we've ever been, ironically.
Yeah, it's a shame, but that's the truth.
And
I agree with you.
and I don't know if we would be the same way today if something happened.
I God forbid that ever happens again. We don't.
I don't know how people.
We're much better prepared now. I don't know if you guys are familiar with the Patriot Act.
Yes.
That
I supported it then. I supported it then because what else are you going to do? You're right, Al.
Well, we have to do something. We can't just put our head in the sand and pretend that everybody loves us. We can't do that. There are
That's
people
right.
here in the country that despise us and want to harm us, and we have to take it seriously. This is not a joke.
And think about it. We have them here, and then we have China who's manipulating, the Indo-Pacific area. They're going to move. They're trying to move into South America. They're moving into Cuba. They're going
I
to get
know.
closer and closer to us. Not even mind you. You got Iran running the Middle East, and then you got Russia running Europe, because that's really the way it's heading at this point. And we're sitting here waiting for something to happen. We're not being proactive enough to.
I
to
don't think. I don't think. I disagree. I think we have intelligence all over the world keeping an eye on our enemies.
Well, we might have intelligence. I don't argue that, but I don't think we're doing anything to slow it down or stop it at this.
Yeah, I think Al, I think you're right, and I think Tony's right. I think what Tony's saying is we do have responsible intelligence, not just on the ground, but technology wise as well. And we have allies that help us with that intelligence. But whether or not our government acts upon that intelligence, well, that's a whole different story. I think that's what Tony's saying.
I think my concern is that we're just not dealing with China aggressively. Um, I'm not a big fan of giving Iran $6 billion on an exchange for prisoners. I've never been a fan of money for a prisoner, even if it's here, local, even if it's somebody kidnapping somebody. Once you start giving money, it's going to continue to happen.
Well, and Ronald Reagan said we do not negotiate with
I
terrorists,
I
mean,
don't think.
and
Obama did it, so Biden says, "Oh, Obama did it. I can do it."
well, I
But
mean,
it's
it's
their money.
yeah, it's the third term. This is the third term of the Obama administration. But Al, I want to get back to you because on 9/11 there were two things that were actually positives on the 22nd anniversary of 9/11. One was the Jets winning.
Yeah, yeah. The Jets winning when their quarterback was injured.
Yeah.
All of I'm a Jets fan, and I
Really?
stuck with. I am, and Mets,
Yeah.
I
Mets,
see the
Jets,
Mets. Yeah.
Mets,
Yes,
Jets,
all
and
right. It was apropos for 9/11 for sure.
but for winning on 9/11 with an injured quarterback sent a message that New York is strong and we're tough and we're not going to take any bullshit.
Well, New
So
York
that was a
If
good
only
message.
California,
even then, New
if
York was a
only
great example,
California can
right?
do that.
What?
When it happened in 2001, New York was
Yankees.
amazing, right? New York
Yeah,
really motivated
we
the
all
rest of the
came
country.
together. Several LAPD agents, LAPD officers went out there to assist in all that. Just like Mike, we all were New Yorkers after 9/11.
Yeah.
Each and every one of us.
Well, it was shortly after 9/11 that Mike Riker and Brian Corrigan and so many others formed the International Counterterrorism Officers Association.
Right.
And which, let me tell you, they thought they were, I think they thought eventually, after so many years, I think that they thought they were, they just weren't pertinent anymore. Well, it's more pertinent today than ever. But Al, real quick, to get back to you. So what was the other memorable moment on 9/11
Well,
for you?
there's a lot of people are very somber, and they just like you, Will, they don't want to talk that day.
I don't think I called anybody that day, actually. I
That's
think
one day where the White House switchboard is like, thank God it's 9/11. Will's not.
I remember that day. I was sitting in my detective bureau, and we watched the second plane hit the towers. And my commander looked around and said, "Okay, me." He pointed to me. go shut down the airport down the road. It was a little private airport because we didn't
Right.
know what was coming. So I ran
Right.
down there. The people said, well, you can't shut it down. I said, Secret Service said to shut you down. And that got stopped. Then I
Right.
picked up my wife at a metro station, and you could see the smoke from the Pentagon. And I took her home, gave her my keys to my truck. She doesn't drive. And I said, if anything bad happens, get the hell out of here any way you can. Put on, grab the uniforms, rifles, and headed back to the station until we could form more game plans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We-
Go ahead, Al.
Well, it was. I didn't know what was happening. I thought the whole country was under attack.
Oh yeah.
And that plane.
Well, and basically it was. I mean, how would we know? That day was so chaotic. We just never thought this thing was going to happen. Not this way. I mean, we always expected an attack, but we didn't know exactly how they were going to do it, and this threw everybody for a loop. And I'm talking some of the smartest, most intelligent, most patriotic people in the world literally had their jaws drop on the floor.
I never.
From Dick Cheney to Condoleezza Rice to even Joe Biden, by the way. A lot of Democrats got behind the Patriot Act.
You have to.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You have to. It's about the country, stupid. Exactly.
It's a no-brainer. I mean, come on. If you've got nothing to hide, then you don't have to worry about your cell phone being listened to. Nobody cares about Will Griffith watching Little House on the Prairie. Okay? No.
If that's all Will Griffith watches, that would be great. But Will Griffith watches some other things. But they probably watch it too. They get a kick out of it. Look, I'm the most transparent guy you'll ever meet.
You're a little
too transparent. Allie says politically, I look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. Not like Casper right there.
Yeah.
I think,
but I'm getting more pale. I'm getting more pale by the day.
I think the only bad thing we didn't do is go after Saudi Arabia because of all the citizens that.
Oh my God, I agree with you. Yeah. And still we're kowtowing to Saudi Arabia.
Right.
So let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk about Mitt Romney.
Your boy. Bye-bye.
Your boy.
Bye-bye.
Your boy.
Bye-bye, Rhino.
He's retiring finally.
Well, and you know what? And he did it before the age of 80. But anybody, look, I campaigned for Mitt Romney twice.
Yes, you did.
Let me tell you something, and I mean this with all my heart. The day that he called Tulsi Gabbard, Lieutenant Colonel Tulsi Gabbard, a Russian asset and traitor to the country, yes, he's retiring. She's not. I'm glad. It was the happiest Republican day of my life.
Where did he get that nonsense?
Hillary Clinton. Literally, he took it from Hillary Clinton's playbook.
You start to look at some of these politicians, and again, when I call them politicians, it's a negative connotation as far as I'm concerned. The mayor of Burbank, Constantine Anthony, who I had the pleasure of meeting at a neighborhood council meeting in my city. He came to show his support. And I don't know if you guys know the story, but there was a lot of cars being torched in my area.
Right.
Yes.
They finally caught the guy.
Yeah,
he came to the meeting to let us know he's running for supervisor for LA County supervisor position. And then he started rambling about supporting unions and a little strange guy. This past week, he had a nice event in the city of Burbank. He had a cross-dresser spank him, videotaped it.
Mayor Spanky.
And it made it all over the nation. So one of the cities in my district made it all over the world, or the nation at least, him getting spanked by a cross-dresser. And then
I'm gonna say just look, for my friends in the press, especially the LA Times, that place such a high premium on accuracy. I just want you to know that Will Griffith was not there that day.
Well, I want to say this because he's getting a lot of stuff back thrown at him, right? And he's saying that anybody that is against him getting spanked in public is just a conservative whack job. And
You know, but here's the thing. But here's the thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Posting, I said, Constantine, I don't care what you do in the bedroom. I don't care if you get spanked. I don't care if you get fisted. I don't give a shit what you do. I'm like, but you don't do that. You are a leader. You are supposed to be a leader. You don't do that kind of stuff publicly.
You set an example, and that wasn't the right example.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Tony, you're not too far off base on this one, but let me tell you something. I think a vast majority of the American people would literally pay money on a streaming venue to actually watch their politicians get spanked.
And it was even better than that. He had the Village People, Macho Man playing in the background.
One of Donald Trump's best favorite bands, by the way.
It could be, but my point
The
is
YMCA. Oh no, Donald Trump loves the
my
YMCA.
point is that we attack certain politicians for there was and I forget what city and state, but this female running for political office, they're attacking her for she had an OnlyFans page with a husband or something.
That's
But yet
Virginia.
it's okay for Constantine Anthony to do this publicly for free.
This is Virginia.
It's a double standard in this world, right?
Yeah.
I mean, at least sell tickets to this
No, she
thing.
wasn't selling tickets.
That's what.
She was taking tips to perform certain acts, and this was in the great state of Virginia.
That's right.
Oh my God! I mean, this is
I haven't found the
amazing.
channel yet.
It's no wonder AJ Penabianco
My point is,
retired.
They attacked her for that, but yet
Right.
Constantine Anthony in California, it's okay to do that. He's not setting a bad example to our kids. He's a leader of the community, and now he wants to be the leader of LA County, be one of the supervisors, which is just, to me, what you do privately is your own business. I don't care, right? I just don't. If you want to, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. But don't bring that shit to work. Like, I don't come to work, hey guys, I'm heterosexual, I'm having sex with my wife tonight. I don't do that kind of stuff. It's just nobody's business, right?
Right, I know you're old school. You're old school.
Speaking of old school,
crap!
Speaking of old school, real quick.
Yeah, because
How many
go ahead,
people-
Mike.
When you were being brought up in 1980, how were your classes?
They were very Amish.
And do you know what happened after 1980? That's when the Department of Education got established.
Well, Donald Trump said today, 5 hours ago, Donald Trump said today that he will abolish the Department of Education, which I agree with wholeheartedly.
$80 billion.
And that should be, look, if you're going to send abortion back to the states and let families and states deal with that, send education back to the states and give the parents the right to educate their children.
Exactly.
Here's another thing. If I do get elected, I'm going to push for a bill that the governor has to have a parent as part of the Board of Education in the state of California.
Yeah, Tony, you were breaking up. You were breaking up for a minute. I thought you said you were breaking up for a minute. I thought you said if you get elected. You meant you said actually when I get elected, right?
The point is that there needs to be a parent on the education board, Department of Education. There's a student, he elects a student every year, and he has his 4 cronies in there, but not a single parent that has a kid in a public school in the state of California.
It's turning the asylum over to the
imbeciles.
Into the imbeciles. Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of school choice. I think people need to know that there's $17,000 per student that the schools get, right? Now, if your kid is absent from school, they're quick to call you, hey, your kid's absent, what's wrong? But if your kid wants to cut off their genitals or do something else, they're not going to call you, So
Well, and it's still in a lot of school districts across the country. I mean, our kids are grown now, so
You know why?
we have grandkids.
The reason they
Good.
call you is because they don't get paid when the kid doesn't show up.
exactly. Right.
So even when I was a child actor, I got pulled out. I would show up if I had a late call, just so the school district could get paid, and then I would go to the set. Or
Yeah.
if I had an early call, it counted as time in the classroom because we'd have a voucher that was signed that was returned to the school district to prove that I was getting an education, which was much better on the set, by the way, than it was in.
I'm
I'm
sure.
sure. I totally I get it. Trust me. I'm LA Unified graduate. I know. And it's
And I
funny because I think a lot of people think it's only happening here, but it's happening all over the world. Like in Mexico, I posted something about parents burning books because some of the books have to do with sexual orientation for kids. And so it's happening everywhere, right? It's not just in the US. People need to wake up and start fighting and push.
You know what's funny though? I mean, let's put this into perspective, Tony. What's funny is that nobody's burning their collection of Playboy and Penthouse and Hustler in this country. Nobody. And guess how many kids? And believe me when I tell you, guess how many kids get into their grandfathers or their fathers' porn stars? Me too. I'm guilty as charged. Oh, by the way, real quick, because oh yeah, I've been holding him off too long. Hey, Tony, we got some breaking news, buddy.
Okay. Wait a minute.
And this is breaking news from the Tony Rodriguez Show. I'm Will Griffith reporting. Fulton County, Georgia today said that the recent mugshots released on Facebook of Tony Rodriguez, Michael Riker, and Al Collins have been denounced by the Trump campaign, saying the president is flattered by your thoughts, but if you want a mugshot, you need to earn it. In other news today, just in from the CDC, Al Collins' disease is infectious, and it is a real thing. It appears that Al Collins is too funny for most people to handle his jokes. The CDC is recommending a mask, gloves, and an injection of sour cream from Del Taco to cure that disease. In the last of the news tonight, House Speaker Kevin McCarthy announced an impeachment inquiry against Joe Biden this week when asked why would he do that without a floor vote. Well, Speaker McCarthy responded through his spokesman, Michael Riker. Well, if they can do it, fuck it. So can we. And Tony, that's all the news that's not fit to print or broadcast. Back to you, Tony.
So it's a great segue to the Al vaccine, right? We know
there is no vaccine for Al.
We know that
it's dangerous.
We know
it's dangerous. Do not go to a chamber breakfast.
We know that California is going to shut down. We know that, right, guys? We know there's going to be a mask mandate. We know they're going to start pushing the vaccine again.
This time, guys, you're going to have to arrest me. I'm not going to go for it.
And
you're going to have to take
I
me
hope
down.
and pray. I really hope and pray
I'm
that
not,
the people
I'm not
say
playing
no.
this game again. Believe me, I'm not the only.
Figure out how much.
My hat's off to you.
If people can't figure out how much of a punk ass Newsom is, listen to his last comment on why it's not his fault that all those mandates happened, right? Taking no responsibility when he was the one that said, put on masks, we're going to shut you down. And now he's saying it wasn't him.
And I'm
He
going to
took
the French
all the power
Laundry.
away from the assembly people by doing what he did during that time.
You're right.
Right.
Tony, you're right.
And yet we have people that think he's God's gift to the world.
Not this
If
person.
I walk into a supermarket and some security guard tells me to put on a mask, I'm going to say, why don't you go after the guy that's stealing $900 worth of groceries and get the fuck out of my way?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
that, Al. It's time.
Yes.
It's time to stand. Stand and hold the line. We can't continue to let the government or any bureaucratic agency tell us what to do, when to do, and how to do it. I know there's some Americans that like the government taking care of them. They like the free money, but you're not going to like when your freedom is taken away.
Well, and part of the thing, and you're right, Tony, but part of the thing is, Al made that joke about me shutting up on 9/11.
Yeah,
Well,
that wasn't a joke.
but that hurt Tony, that hurt my feelings.
You don't have feelings.
That hurt my, I got a lot of feelings. That hurt my feelings. And I want reparations.
Oh, another segue. Thank you.
You're welcome.
There was a survey that came out today that 80% of people in California don't believe in giving reparations.
It shows not all Californians are dumb.
I'm super impressed that the state of California, some of the voters actually agree with that. And their reasons make sense. It happened before my time. And the other reason is if we're going to give reparations to one group, we need to give them to all the groups that got.
Well, here's the other thing. You're right. I mean, where do you start, Tony? You're absolutely right. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
So then we'll all be back.
I mean, what are we going to do? We should start, if we're going to do reparations, well, then we're not going to be able to afford a defense department and to get into another war. So let's start with the Native Americans. Let's start with the Japanese Americans. I mean, we can go down through the list. I'm sorry, but life is not easy, folks.
And it's what they.
But I am going to seek reparations against Al Collins for that. Actually, Allie heard that joke, and she said, "I wish 9/11 was an anniversary 365 days out of the year." Yeah. If Will Griffith would just shut up. So now I yield the floor to the gentleman from wherever the hell you are.
I'm going to videotape me spanking you, and we'll play it on the show.
Okay.
I don't want to see that.
Yeah, you're breaking.
I do not.
No, you're breaking up. I didn't hear.
I don't want to see that, Al.
I don't even know what he said.
Well, here's a great segue to that. Did you guys hear that Sheriff Alex Villanueva is going to run for LA supervisor?
I heard.
Well, that's dumb.
No, it's not.
No, he should run for sheriff again.
No. He knows.
Okay.
No, let me tell you why. Because he knows where the power really is in Los Angeles, right?
I love him with all my heart. He got. Go ahead.
The power is with the LA supervisors, all of them. They control everything.
Look, in any state in the union, Tony, the most politically powerful position you can have is not a mayor, a congressman, or a senator. The most politically powerful position you can have is the sheriff of a county.
Ask the people.
It's almost sacrosanct.
Ask the people in New Mexico with their governor saying you can't have concealed carry. Open carry.
I know she's an idiot. She's an idiot
all the
too.
Sheriffs are now saying we will not enforce it.
Oh no, they're not going to enforce it. No,
but again, you're talking about a department that has the moral courage to say that.
Well, they've got
LA
most
Sheriff,
of them.
the LA Sheriff's Department, their leader doesn't have the moral courage to push back against the LA County Supervisor. He just doesn't.
He better grow a set. Because if he's got more power than they do.
That's right.
He's not going to grow. He's not going to grow.
Did you hear the district attorney is up for a recall?
Yes.
Again?
Yeah.
Are you talking about You talking about Gascon?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know. Recall. He shouldn't have been elected in the first place, but yeah, I like the idea anyway. You got to keep trying.
Well, you got to do something, right? We can't just sit here and allow him to prosecute at his will, right? If you're a criminal, you're a criminal, right? If you committed a crime, you should be punished, plain and simple, right? Doesn't matter if it's $20 or $900. You're stealing, and you're hurting small businesses. You're hurting businesses now. We just had another one this weekend, right? Another smash and grab.
Yeah.
We just had another one. So,
yeah, and yet they want to prosecute people for not wearing a fucking mask.
Yep.
Exactly.
We've got grocery stores that are closing. We've got Best Buys that are closing, all because of the thefts. And
well, look, during the first out here in Long Beach, during the first COVID spread out here, when the riots started and people were looting and so forth, I have some really good friends that literally just left.
Well,
they boarded up their business. And they left because they could not handle the insurance. They could not handle. They couldn't get any law enforcement support at all out here during that time because it was so rampant.
So,
and it goes back down to Fulton County, Georgia. D.A. Willis. Let me tell you something. Her record and the record of Alvin Bragg when it comes to street crime, nothing. And Donald Trump is public enemy number one. You know what? I'm going to say this tonight, and I hope Senator Gabbard isn't listening and my grandchildren aren't listening in. But I have learned a thing in my old age, and that is the most brilliant word in the English language today is the word fuck. It is a noun. It is an adjective. It is a pronoun. And it is an adverb. Fuck you. Fuck all. Fuck that son of a bitch.
Fucking right.
Fuck you. Fuck you, you fucker. And by the way,
hey, and here's another good
it even works in sign language.
Here is another segue to something I want to bring up.
There you go, do it to it.
So Friday,
Captain,
in the beautiful state of California, and Mr. Wiener passed another bill punishing parents who don't affirm trans kids in custody battles. So if I have a custody battle with my wife and I don't agree with my child wanting to be trans at this point because they're 8 or 9 years old, I'm probably going to lose custody of my child because I don't agree with my child.
It's madness.
And people elect this jackass Wiener.
That's why he's a wiener.
Right? It's just amazing to me that we
okay, but let me ask you.
Wait.
Go ahead, Tony. I'm sorry.
In the state, but we do nothing about it. We just stay behind closed doors.
Okay, can I ask you a question though, Tony? Because you served 25 years in the military. Mm-hmm. This is not your first rodeo. No. Al has been around the block. He knows Hollywood like the back. Well, I shouldn't say like the back of it. He knows Hollywood. Right. And Mike Riker knows law enforcement like crazy. Let me ask you a question. What does it take, seriously, for a voter in California when he when he or she gets their ballot? Look, when we get our ballots, mm-hmm. What does it take for somebody to say, "Oh, look. Oh, yeah. Okay, we got, okay, so we have a choice here. We got Wiener and we got Tony Rodriguez." What is in the mindset of the people of California when they vote for a Wiener?
They need to be spanked.
I think a lot of it is it has to do with money, and people get caught up on a look, right? People get caught up on a look, kind of like with Newsom. We hear a lot of complaints, but he's very likable, right? He looks like a good guy. Women adore him, right? So they vote for him, right?
Well, not his ex-wife though.
I know,
She's sleeping with Donald Trump Jr.
What-
Anyway, go ahead.
You think, and I'll give you another example, Monica Rodriguez. You hear nothing but negative crap about her, but she wins all the time. It doesn't matter who runs against her, she wins because she's got certain powers that be behind her financially to support her, right?
apparently she's good at public
Oh,
service.
she's very good at public service. She's
So is
very
Camilla.
right? But people get caught up with that, right? Oh, they look the part, or they've been doing it, so they know politics. Well, I think people forget that to be a good public servant, you don't have to have served ever before. You just have to think with common sense, right? Back to normalcy. You don't have to,
Yeah.
it's like a budget. We all have budgets at home. We know what we can do and what we can't do. And if we can't go to Disneyland and spend $3,000 on a weekend with your kids and your grandkids, then you just don't go to Disneyland because you have common sense. But the problem with these politicians is that it's not their money, so they don't care.
Right.
And it's kind of like in my line of work, right? We have a budget for our office. The people that work it doesn't affect how much money we spend or what we spend it on. It doesn't affect them because they get their salary no matter what. But they don't look at the bigger picture as a business. If we don't make money to pay their salaries, we're going to have to lay them off. That's just reality, right? But they don't think that way, that, oh, you're a business, you own a lot. Well, no, we're not a big business, and we're a small business. So think about small business people that have a restaurant and their waitresses and bartenders are jerks to customers, and customers don't come. They don't care, right?
That's right.
It's not affecting their paycheck right now, but when it does, then they cry and snivel. Right? And that's the thing, that people need to take ownership and be more responsible with what they do on a daily basis, because it affects all of us.
Yeah. Maybe you're absolutely correct. 100%, Tony. And by the way, if you want to meet Tony, for our listeners who are going to listen to this archive after we reblast it, the reruns, visit Tony, the number 4 California.us. That's Tony, the number 4 California.us. The number 4, not spell out the number 4 for you liberal idiots out there. Yeah.
I don't even want to call them liberal idiots, because they're really not. I think we've gotten caught up on, the D and the R and the I, instead of getting caught up on what's really important, right? Which is our kids. Angeles Crest, for those of you who don't visit, is a beautiful place, right? I live on the base of Angeles Crest, and we have water that runs through there. We have camping sites there. It's a beautiful getaway. If you want to get away for a day from the big city, go hang out there. And people just destroy it. They don't live there, so they don't care, right?
Right.
So, some of the things that we find, I'm like, you could have just taken this whole bag with you home and throw it in your trash, right? There's actual campsites with trash cans. People don't use them, right? They just throw crap all over the place, right? Is that how they live in their home? I would hope not, right? But I don't know that. But we just need to do common sense things. Take care of each other. Take care. If you see something, pick it up. If you see somebody that needs help, help them. If you have water and there's a homeless person, give them a bottle of water, right? If they want food, give them food. Instead of just going by people and ignoring them, we're so detached that, like, we just walk by people and don't care.
Common sense. Take twice daily.
Hey, I like that. No, it kind of
hey, Tony.
Gotten away from that.
Hey, Tony, that's funny that Al brought that up, because Coca-Cola announced this week. Do you remember? Now, we're old enough. I think all of us are old enough to remember when Coca-Cola came out with the new Coke.
Yes.
Right.
Oh, okay.
The worst marketing move ever.
Okay, worst marketing move. Total flop.
Yeah.
So this week they hold a press conference. And I'm not big on Coca-Cola press conferences. I don't even drink this shit as it was meant to be. But they come out with the new AI Coca-Cola.
Fruit Coca-Cola.
Taste the future. And so I'm watching these journalists say, "Oh no, if I want Coke, I just want a real Coke." And other journalists were saying, "No, I think I'll try it." And one journalist looked over at the other journalist and said, "That's exactly what they're banking on. It'll be gone in 6 months, but they'll sell a lot of this. Taste the future." Well, if the future tastes like anything, did it taste like now? Yeah, I don't need a bottle to.
I don't drink horse shit.
And well,
Exactly.
I drink Coke. I'm not going to deny it. Okay, I'm one of those. But I will tell you this: you're right about that. And by saying that, I mean if people don't start voting for common sense public servants, we're not going to recover. This is the time to do it. And I don't mean at the federal level. I'm talking at the state and local levels, because that's where you can make a real difference, right?
That's where the real difference. Kristi Noem would agree with you on that. The governor of South Dakota, she would agree with. Tulsi Gabbard would agree with you on that.
We need to,
It is not. Washington D.C. is not where to do it.
You can't fix anything from the top down. You fix everything from the bottom up. At some point it'll change the top. I won't see it, but I'm sure it'll change if people do the right thing now, right? But we get so caught up on, I love Biden, I love Trump, I love Obama, I hate Michelle, right? Instead of dealing with reality, the real problems that we have today. Yeah, I know you're a Trump lover.
Yeah, I'm totally in love with the guy.
And I'm not
okay. So all right, the New York.
He is the best choice that we have had any chance of trying to fix anything. But people get caught up on that, kind of like you do with Trump. They get caught up with Biden, and nobody thinks about the republic, which is what's the most important thing, right?
Well, I got caught up on a guy too. When you're talking about local and state politics, I got caught up on a guy too. What the hell's his name?
I don't know.
You were caught up.
Tony something. I got caught up in him too because look, the real deal. It's like even though Facebook hated my thing about Trump and Noem, leaders, we know them when we see them.
Yeah.
So thank you. First of all, for an hour without censoring me or cutting me off. I was going to call Al a name, but Al Collins is sufficient.
Hey, remember, we're a team. We don't attack each other. We love and hug.
Oh.
We love and hug.
Oh, yeah. Rainbows, rainbow farts and daisies.
You know what?
Oh, my God. We argue.
I am not
happy
that the LGBTQ took the rainbow away from all of us.
Yeah, and the funny
they didn't take the rainbow away from me.
The funny thing was on 9/11 this year, 2 double rainbows went over Twin Towers.
Yeah.
So we don't have a lot of time, but I want to bring this up real quick. A federal judge, of course, out of Texas, declared Obama-era DACA program unlawful.
Right. So they changed the wording on it.
Yeah.
And they're trying to get it through again.
Right. So this is the second time it's been declared unlawful. I don't know if it'll be declared lawful after this time, but who knows? What are your thoughts before we get off?
Well, you know what? I'm going to leave it up to you guys, but before we get off, so to speak, I literally want to say one more thing about Fulton County when you're done, Tony.
Go ahead.
So today I watch a press conference with the Fulton County sheriff, and he was interviewed, and the reporter, it was ABC News, I think, did the exclusive interview.
Oh, Disney.
And the sheriff took her in and showed where Trump came in and where they took him for his fingerprints and the wall where he got his mugshot and so forth. And she said, do you regret do you regret having the former president take a mugshot? He said, no, I don't regret it. He said, because most of the people in my jail look like just you and me. And they were both African Americans. And he said, no, and the African Americans have to do it. So I thought Trump should do it too. Then she said, but what do you think, Sheriff, about the fact that Donald Trump made $15 million off of his mugshot? He said, well, I've assembled my legal team. I'm going to see if we can't seize that money.
Yeah, they want to do copyright infringement.
He wants to sue.
They want to,
The sheriff of Fulton County wants to sue the president for copyright infringement.
Which is crap. I mean, it's his picture.
You know, we have more important things to worry about in this country, and this dumbass is talking about that, right?
Oh my God!
And that's
and he's not talking about how he can. Look, we imprison more of our citizens in this country than any other nation, including China. We do.
And it was great because when Trump left Fulton County after his indictment, the African American community lined up on the side of the streets, and they were all cheering for him and said,
"They sure did. They sure did." Well, they sure did.
I just want to remind politicians that we have bigger fish to fry. We have public safety issues. We have homelessness issues. We have issues in our schools where the schools are trying to dictate the parents what to do, when to do, and how to do with their kids. So they're more important issues than Donald Trump's picture, suing him. Focus on what's important in your neighborhood, politicians, not what you think is important to you. Because if you don't, I'm going to make sure that I put you all over social media so you get your ass voted out of office. Because that is my goal.
Well, you did. I have to give you, Tony, I have to give you credit. When Al gave you those 2 city council members that voted against law enforcement.
Don't get me involved in this.
Al didn't give me nothing.
Yeah, when Donald Trump gave you those 2 names.
Al didn't give me nothing. But you know what? I'm going to out every idiot that votes.
Man,
look, this is why everybody says
you are
our family is like a knife drawer.
Hey, I just want
Allie is the smartest bulb in that knife drawer.
That I don't want you speaking on my behalf at all, okay?
Okay. So you just fired me as your press secretary.
Never. You're stuck, bro.
Just be your press secretary and shut the fuck up.
You got a gag order.
Just for 24 hours. Hey guys, I want to thank you for tonight. It was great as usual. We talked about important issues. We laugh a little. We ridicule each other a little. The t-shirts will be coming your way soon. So make sure you wear them. Thank you for tonight. I want to thank the audience for joining us on the Tony Rodriguez Show on the Next Gen USA. You can follow me on Tony, the number 4, California.us. You can follow me on social media, Tony Rodriguez for the Republic, on Instagram or Facebook. Thank you, everybody, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.